Well, hello and a very, very warm welcome to the Mitsubishi Motors Badminton Horse Trials. It is the first horse inspection. We are live from Badminton. The first time that the first horse inspection has been streamed. We're delighted to have you with us. I'm Nicole Brown, and joining me in the commentary position, I have one very, very excited gentleman. It is Dunn Byrne from EquiRatings. Very good afternoon to you, Dunn.
Hi, Nicole. Great to be back together.
I think it's safe to say you are buzzing with excitement, aren't you? It's one of the biggest weeks in the calendar, and there is so much to look forward to. A really top-class field coming forward.
Oh, it's brilliant to be back. I mean, you start planning badminton the minute the last one ends. We've just come off the back of a brilliant 4-star in Rolex. Michael went and made history. He's now won his 10th 4-star. He's coming back here. He's another opportunity to make history. There's so much going on. I can't wait to get into it.
Well, we can certainly tell, and we're going to be bringing you all of the action from the first horse inspection live, but all of the action will be available throughout the weekend as well. Do go online, badminton-horse.co.uk. Everything will be available. Badminton Radio is live as well, and it is across all platforms. Go onto social media, get involved, because it really is one of the biggest events in the calendar. Well, 83 starters are coming forward. We're going to get our first opportunity to take a look at them in a few minutes' time. 14 nations in total are represented, and among them 6 previous winners. It is Eric Winter's first year as course designer. There is so much to look forward to, but one man I know everybody is going to be looking at. You've touched on him slightly already. He is going to be coming back for a consecutive win, and it is Michael Young of Germany.
Yeah, himself and Leviziotech Sam, they're back to try and win a consecutive badminton. It's not an easy thing to do, Nicole. Only 4 horses have done it previously. Supreme Rock and Pippa Funnel being the most recent in 2002, 2003. Surwati and Ian Stark did it back in 86, 88. 87 was rained off. Great Ovation and Captain Mark Phillips in 71, 72. And High and Mighty, Sheila Wilcox back in 57, 58. You can see that is not a long list. Sam has given himself a big chance to add to that list. You see the form he's in. He's coming off the back of a record-setting badminton last year, 34.4, the lowest ever finishing score at the event. He set that last year. He went on to such success at Rio, finished on his dressage score again there. He's going for his 3rd consecutive 4-star finish on his dressage score. I think, we can't make this the Michael Young show, because personally, if you're asking me, I don't think he's going to do it. I think there's another German going to get in
controversial.
there. But he's given himself such a big chance, Nicole.
We'll come on to that in a second, because one thing that is happening is Michael is renewing his rivalry with the chap that he beat to the Olympic gold medal last year. That is Astier Nicolas of France, who took team gold, individual silver, Blythe Tate. What can you tell us about him?
Well, I think this horse for me would have been a big favourite to take badminton this year. He's fast, he does a low dressage. At 4-star level, he's averaging in the low 40s. 4-star, he's been here 3 times. 3 times jumping clear cross country, 3 times inside the time, jumped clear on 2 occasions. Look, he has to be a big favourite. The only blot on that copybook is the recent form. So he's coming off the back of an elimination in Saumur at a national event. He's probably not as in form as some of the Germans coming here, but certainly you'd expect him to be in the top 3 shake-up at the end on Sunday.
You certainly can't write him off, and I have to say he's one of my personal favourites, and definitely for those of you watching at home, watch that man across the country, because Astier Nicolas, he made the Olympics look easy with Blythe Tate, and as we all know, that was far from the truth. Well, the first horse inspection is getting underway at 4:30. So we have a few moments to talk about what we think could happen, and we've mentioned the Germans coming here in full force. There's only 4 of them in the field, but there's one lady who's been second here before. She has something to prove, and I know you are a big, big fan of Ingrid Klimpfer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hale Bob v Sam is going to be the big rivalry to watch this weekend. Ingrid, as we know, such a talented rider, so experienced. Horseware Hill Bob's coming off the back of a 20 at Rio. It was very unfortunate. They still managed to finish 14th. They will do a low dressage. I expect them to be the dressage leader, Nicole. They're out Friday afternoon. I think, I just feel Horseware Hill Bob will. Well, I said this on our podcast last week, Nicole. I think they have the potential to go lead it from start to finish.
You did. That's a bold statement to lead from the dressage all the way through to the final show jumping phase on Sunday, and that was 20 penalties across the country for a run out in Rio. It arguably could have cost them the gold medal, which France then took. She's only done 4 4-stars with the horse. 2 have been clear across country. Fairly big blip on the CV, perhaps. Dare I say it? Or are you going to shoot me for that one?
No, I mean, no, you're right. You know, it's 2 from 4 if we're looking at their 4-star record. I think the fact that they're averaging in the 30s in the dressage, and one thing that we're going to have to bear in mind this weekend is that unless you're coming from a 30s dressage, it's going to be very difficult to be in that top 5. We look at our previous winners. 4 of the last 5 have come from a 30s dressage. Like Sam Griffiths and Paula Broca in that wet year are one of the only ones to come from further out. They actually climbed from 25th to win it. Paul Tapner, I know nothing, back in 2010. He was a mid-40s, climbed from 11th to win it. But other than that, very difficult to come from outside the top 5 after dressage. Very difficult to come from outside the 30s after dressage. We've got to look at horses. If we're talking about wins, Nicole, we've got to talk about horses that are potential to go into the 30s in the dressage. Hail Bob is right there in the middle of those.
Looking at that first phase, the dressage, the record here at Badminton is 30.8 in the first phase. That was set by Darian Powers and a man who comes back again this weekend, Andrew Hoyt, back in 2000, I think it was. Is that correct?
Yeah, back in 2000, Nicole. Yeah, Andrew Hoyt.
So who can we expect to challenge for that this weekend? One lady I have my eye on would be Designer 10, Bettina Hoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Good shout. 5 horses, Nicole, are averaging a dressage score in the 30s over the last 12 months. That's international level. That's at all levels. Designer 10 is 39.3 they're averaging over the last 12 months. King de Brio 39.8, Sam 37.1, Nereo 36.4. Don't forget him. But as I was saying, top of the list over the last 12 months, all internationals, 34.4 Horseware Hellbob.
Well, Nereo actually a really interesting horse to touch upon, because Andrew Nicholson, believe it or not, 35 completions here at Badminton Horse Trials. That is 7 Armada dishes, and he has never won the big one. He's won numerous other 4-stars. I think total count is about 8, but he has never won Badminton. He is surely looking to cross that one off his CV. Nereo, very strong in the first phase, more than capable of scoring a mid-30s in the dressage, but one phase that would perhaps let him down, if any, would be his show jumping.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's going to be so difficult going into Sunday. We're going to have a real idea as to how this is going to play out. But I think it's certainly their weakest phase. Their dressage, as we know, is averaging in the 30s. I expect them to get in there. They may pick up some time penalties as well, Nicole.
A very good afternoon to you. Great to have you with us.
He's mature, and he is certainly thinking a little more slowly. Obviously back from that really awful fall a couple of years ago, back in 2015. It's brilliant to see him back at the top level. He's had wins at 3-star, so we certainly know Andrew has not lost any of his competitive edge. He's perhaps just a little more selective about when he unleashes it. Yeah,
and look, he unleashed it last season at Barbary when he came back to win that Event Rider Masters class. That was an emotional day. He show jumped clear that day, but Nereo, if we look at the recent record, we had one down at Burley. Now, you're going to say this to me. Sam said it to me the other day in the EquiRatings office. One down at Burley last year was not a bad result. It was a show jumping field that caused a lot of penalties. He had one down at Gackham. But look, for me, the reason I'm worried is that 4-star level. He had 3 down here in 2015. He had 3 down at Weg. That was the wet Weg in France in 2014. Nereo, he's going to be so exciting coming into Sunday. We expect him to be in that, that top, certainly top 5, top 6. May rest a little bit on show jumping penalty or on time penalties cross country, but may have a pole. There is not going to be room for a pole with horses like Sam, Hail Bob, Leonidas, Piaf de Neville. We've got some brilliant show jumpers. They're all good cross country. I expect them all to be keeping a lot of pressure on Nereo. Well, from an outsider's perspective, I have one combination in the field that have really caught my eye, because they were part of that gold medal winning team in Rio last year for France. They won an individual bronze medal when they shot onto the international scene
back in 2015 at Blair Castle at the very wet European Championships, and that is Thibaut Villette and King de Brio. It's a horse that has fairly limited international experience. In fact, I would say that Thibaut Villette has very limited international experience, because I have a little stat for you, Dom. I'm going to throw you a stat back. So Thibaut Villette is 43 years old.
Correct.
He has completed 32 internationals in his entire career.
Okay.
Including an Olympic gold medal and an individual medal and a team medal at the European Championships with this horse. Oliver Townend, we're huge fan favourites of Oliver Townend. He's an incredible rider, former winner here. How many internationals did he do last year alone?
96.
So I'm telling you that Thibaut Villette has done 32 internationals in his entire career. That is a third of Oliver Townend's in 2016.
Yeah, certainly. I didn't realise how few those international runs were, and it does make it so much more impressive when you see some of the results that are coming up. Looking at his major results, he was third at Blair Castle in 2015. This is all King de Brio. He was 13th individually at Rio. Third place at Semur in the CCI 3-star. Second place at Chatsworth in the CIC 3-star. Didn't pick up much time at Chatsworth, and that's a really interesting one when we go to speed and we talk about speed. So King de Brio only picked up 6.4 penalties at Chatsworth. Now, Chatsworth is the most difficult of the CIC venues in the UK to get the time. 2 people, Nicole, as you know from our Event Rider Masters work, 2 people have made the time at 4-star level. Oh, we have a horse.
We do have a horse, and it is the perfect opportunity to just give you a quick introduction to the first horse inspection. This is the first opportunity that our ground jury get to see our competitors. And our ground jury here, we have 3 very, very experienced professionals. Martin Pleuer is the president of the ground jury for Germany. He was serving on the ground jury back in Beijing for the Olympics in 2008, technical delegate in London as well, and he is certainly a man that is going to lead this ground jury with a huge amount of experience. And the first combination to present will be our Pathfinder out first on the cross country on Saturday, first into the dressage arena at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. It is Lauren Kiefer with Landmarks at Monte Carlo. This, an 11-year-old grey gelding, a horse that went very, very well at Rolex last year, and the first of Lauren's 2 rides. So during the first horse inspection, our riders present the horse to the ground jury and to the veterinary delegates as well, who all have the opportunity to check that the horse is fit to be entered into the competition. Should they have any concerns, which at this stage would be unlikely, all of the horses have been passed fit by the vet into the stables, then they would be sent to what is called the holding box, where they are then checked over by a vet, because the horse's welfare is paramount at all phases throughout the competition. The second horse inspection comes forward on Sunday morning after a tough cross-country phase, and is one that is, I certainly know, very, very nerve-wracking for the competitors. So Lauren now presenting the second of her rides, and this is Veronica, a horse who went very, very well at Rolex, and a horse I think you thought might win Rolex this year.
Well, I can't say this out loud anymore, but I thought if Veronica and Lauren had stayed at Rolex, they probably would have won it. They've been second there the last 2 years. I felt that they had a great chance. She's come here, she wants to challenge, take on the best event, the best course in the world, and she's dead right. I think Veronica is a real player to watch from the American side.
Well, a number of Americans coming over, in fact, all of them making their badminton debut, and Lauren brings forward 2 horses on her badminton debut. One man who certainly this is not his debut here is Sir Mark Todd. He is next to present the first of his 2 horses to our ground jury, and the first of those horses is Leonidas, a horse who went very, very well here for the last couple of years, was 4th back in 2016, went to the Olympics, and I think you're his #1 fan, aren't you, Derm?
I'm a big fan of Leonidas. They were 4th here in 2016. They were also 4th here, Nicole, in 2015. A wonderful show jumper. Now, they didn't go to plan at Rio, but don't let that put you off. They did jump a clear round straight afterwards in the individual. show jumping at Rio. I think this is a pair to watch on Sunday. Very fast cross country, likely to be in the low 40s in dressage. Definitely in the shake-up, Nicole.
It's a difficult draw, isn't it? Second into the arena.
Yeah, you know, we talk about judges and does it make a difference when you go in? Certainly going in that early is going to be difficult for them, but I think Leonidas should be looking at hopefully a mid to low 40s.
And Mark actually comes forward with two very, very strong hands, doesn't he? Because his second ride is NZB Campino, who he presents in the first horse inspection now. And this is a horse also that has very, very good form. And I think I'm right in saying was his ride for the London Olympics back in 2012.
This is a horse, Nicole, that I think will, has the potential to challenge those 30 dressages. Keep an eye on where he goes. He's certainly, I'd say, of the two, he's one that has the potential to go into a low dressage, so maybe into the 30s, but may add to that. Some time penalties potentially, and potentially rails down as well. I think Leo's probably the stronger of the two in terms of the finishing score. This boy's probably stronger in the first phase.
But no better man on board. Mark Todd, of course, needs very little introduction. He's been to numerous Olympic Games, World Championships. He has been on the scene for a very, very long time. Last won a badminton title back in 2011, and how much would we enjoy seeing him do so again in 2017. A record £100,000 on offer to the winner this year, and it is set up to be a fantastic competition. We're so pleased you can join us. We are live throughout the competition, and all of the dressage will be streamed over the next couple of days as well. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, the dressage gets underway, so do go online, Badminton website, and you can keep up to date with all of the action. But now presenting is the first of the British riders, and it's a man who comes forward with a very, very good chance of making it into the top 20. And looking very dapper indeed, I might say. I think the ladies will be liking watching Alexander Bragg trot up Zagreb.
I'm not sure about that, Nicole.
No comment?
Well, look, this pair had a great pole last year. They were in the top 5 at pole, which is a great result at the top level. But the one for me is that they actually were clear and inside the time at Belton in the CIC this year. They had a 47 dressage. This is a pair to watch on Saturday. Clear and inside the time at Belton is not an easy one, not an easy time to get. They finished in the top 10. They're very good show jumpers. It's all going to depend on their first phase.
Well, certainly one that I think will be very popular over the weekend is Alex Bragg and Zagreb. But next to go is a very little lady with a very, very large horse. It is Louise Harwood, and she comes forward with the first of her two rides. It is Whitson, and they will wear number 4 in the drawn order, presenting in the first horse inspection to our ground jury. And this is a horse that was 8th at Le Moulin at the level back in 2016.
Last year. Last year.
But certainly one that has had their challenges, only completed 2 of their 4 4-star runs.
Yeah, you're looking at kind of a late 40s dressage likely for Whitson at this level, but it's all about Saturday, as you say. They have to make sure that they're getting to the final jumping round on Sunday without too many penalties on their record. They'll be hoping for a clear round, but they've got to turn around their recent cross-country form.
And Louise very quickly runs out of shot on your screen to collect her second horse to present to our ground jury, and it is Mr. Potts. And she will be having the advantage of a late Friday afternoon dressage with the second of her rides. Will also go late in the day on the cross-country day on Saturday. But Louise, who's competed at the top level for many, many years. Mr. Potts looking quite full of beans at the trotter. But I think it's safe to say we have to remember, Derm, that these are such fit horses, and they are ready to gallop for 10 and 11 minutes on Saturday.
Absolutely. Mr. Potts hugely experienced at 4-star level. This is actually his 10th 4-star. So he knows, he's completed all 9 so far. 9 out of 9, 100%. Again, will he challenge at the top end? Unlikely. He may carry some jumping penalties from the cross-country phase, but he's delighted to be here, very relaxed, and going for 10 4-stars. That's a very impressive record.
I think it's safe to say he was far more keen to go back down the trot up than he was on the way up, because he rather towed her on the way down. She towed him on the way up. But Louise Harwood, the second of her rides, presented and accepted by our ground jury. As I say, should they have any concerns, our ground jury, they do have the opportunity to send combinations to what is called the holding box, where they're checked out by the vets, and then they can represent to the ground jury. More often than not, at the first horse inspection, most horses are accepted through to the competition. And the next to come forward is the first of our French combinations, and it is Cedric Liard with Cadeau de Roy. And this is a horse that had a very, very good form at this level last year. Cedric has competed at this level for a very, very long time.
I mean, brilliant cross-country jumpers, Nicole. Very long time before you can find a cross-country jumping fault on the record. They do pick up little bits of time. They were 5th at Burley in 2016. They were also 12th at Chatsworth and the winners of Fontainebleau last year. They're coming with good form. They were 7th at Burley the year before. The big thing that they will do is show jump clear.
I have to say, I rather like his snazzy red trousers, Derm. I think you might suit a pair of those.
I think you know that that's not true. I mean, the French carry style in a different way to the Irish, Nicole, and I don't think that's going to work for me at all.
Well, Cedric now presents the second of his horses, and it is Qatar de Pouche Rouget, another horse that has had a good deal of experience at this level. Our ground jury, remember, led by our president, Martin Pleur for Germany, but joined by Anne-Mette Binder from Denmark, who was actually president of the ground jury at the London Olympic Games 5 years ago, and also Christina Klingspor for Sweden, who has just returned from a trip to Rolex on the ground jury just last week as well.
So it's a first time at Badminton for Cedric, as you said, Nicole, but also for this horse, Qatar de Pouche Rouget. They have been to Burley before.
He's done very, very well at Burley. Top 10 last year with the first of his rides that he presented, Cadeau de Roy, and I think they've got a really strong chance this weekend.
I think their show jumping might take them out of contention, might drop them down a couple. They're going to, I would expect, be in the mid to high 40s dressage. If you're into their dressage, Nicole, you have to stay on it, and I think they might drop into the 50s with a couple of jumps down, or even with one pull down.
It is definitely a difficult thing to do, to finish on your dressage score, but one man who is no stranger to us here at the Mitsubishi Motors Badminton Horse Trials is a former winner, Andrew Hoyt, and he comes forward with the Blue Frontier. 16 years of age now, the Blue Frontier. Had an unfortunate fall at Burley last year. Looking an absolute picture. It must be said that immaculately turned out, all of the horses. The grooms do such an incredible job, and some of the riders scrub up fairly well as well.
Well, that's the man who holds the dressage record at Badminton, 30.8 on Darian Powers. So 16 years on the trot now. That record has remained untouched. Whether we can see anyone hit 30.8 this year is, Nicole, it's very tough. I mean, it's incredible what they've done.
It really is. But actually, Andrew Hoyt, this horse, when he went to Burley last year, he actually scored 38.3 in the first phase before falling across the country. So possibly one to watch in the dressage tomorrow morning as a potential early leader. Now, though, he presents the second of his two horses, and it is the horse on whom he rode at the London Olympics back in 2012, Rutherglen. And another horse that's very experienced at this level, not really keen on standing still to be inspected by our ground jury down in front of Badminton House. In fact, looking a little full of beans, shall we say.
Well, funny you should say that. It's the second. You saw that there with Louise. It's actually like Louise, Rutherglen is also, Andrew's also bringing forward here a horse that knows exactly what he's doing. This is his 11th 4-star. And I mean, for a horse, that's an incredible record. Rutherglen, this is going to be their 11th 4-star. They've completed 6. They've jumped clear in those 6. They've been inside the time twice. So yes, Nicole, experienced, good cross-country jumpers, mid to high 40s, I'm going to say. Mid to high 40s dressage. Again, is it going to be enough? Probably for a mid placing. They've got to keep those show jumps up.
Well, he's a former winner here, and he is very quickly followed by another former winner. Back in 2009, Oliver Townend took the title with Flint Curtis, and he returns with 2 chances to take home the £100,000 first prize here in 2017. The first of those chances that he presents now is Samuel Thomas II, a horse that finished 7th at Burghley last year. 13 years of age now.
Been to 2 Burghleys, Nicole, Sam Thomas, but hasn't yet been to Badminton. So first time here.
Well, will this be his year? There's no man that is hungrier, is there?
Than Oliver?
Yes.
This is going to be his 35th 4-star since 2010.
Good grief. And he did 96 internationals in 2016.
Last season, you're right, 96 last season.
He is a busy man.
A busy man, hugely experienced. Last year with Armada, we saw an incredible cross-country round. Was that last year? Was it 2 years ago? I mean, it was one of the early ones. I'll never forget watching it. It was like a rider of Oliver's experience is one to try and make sure you get to see on Saturday. A brilliant cross-country rider, fast, fluid.
He has such a belief, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He believes that he is going to do it, and he helps his horses. And sometimes, and we saw this at Rolex last week, riders can get very caught up in what they should be riding, how many strides there should be, when in actual fact, riders like Oliver go through pure feeling. The second of his horses that he brings forward is actually a 4-star first-timer, and it is ODT Garib, who's having a good look round at the end of the trot up there, and looking a little keen, actually, to head back down. I think Oliver thinks he might just disappear and head off around the Badminton estate a little early.
Well, they're coming, their first 4-star, but coming with good 3-star form, recent form, 3 jumping clears in the last 12 months, 3 completions. They haven't yet made the time. They have show jump clear at Bergam already this season at CIC level. Not sure where they're. Not sure. I mean, it's a first timer, so
an unknown quantity.
Yeah, from the stats point of view, it's a little bit wait and see. But certainly, they've got one of the most experienced riders in the field on their back.
We're now presenting is Christina Cooke, who, with the first of her 2 rides, Calvino II, this a 12-year-old, went very, very well at Pau when making the step up to this level last year. Had a double clear, so clear in the cross-country and in the show jumping at the end of last season, looking to continue that form again in 2017. And Christina needs very little introduction. Tina, who travelled as reserve for the Rio Olympics last year, and she brings forward that horse in a few moments' time. In fact, Billy the Red will see him in just a second. But safe to say, Calvino, another one to rather tow Tina back down the trot up. And another that is looking very, very keen to get on with proceedings. So Tina will quickly pass him over and make a quick change to the second of her rides, that is Billy the Red. And this was the horse that she actually travelled over to Rio with, didn't get the opportunity to run. They were the travelling reserve for Team GB.
Yeah, always a difficult position going as a travelling reserve anywhere, but by all accounts, Tina remained a very big part of that team, and you can imagine some of the younger members or less experienced championship riders having Tina there. Must be just a brilliant resource. I know that in Ireland we're going to have Camilla Spears on this trot up. Camilla went as the reserve in Ireland and was able to offer the same. It's a really crucial role and a very difficult role for some of the riders.
She was European champion back in 2009. She's been on the British teams for years and years and years. I'm sure she wouldn't like me to say how many years, but safe to say she is very, very experienced and has 2 very exciting young horses. Billy the Red, only 10 years of age, and comes forward in his second 4-star with surely a very good shout at being well placed at the end of the competition on Sunday. I think another that is very keen. It's brilliant to see these horses in such fine form, and I know riders very tempted to wrap them up in bubble wrap or cotton wool before the event. So much can go wrong, as we all know, with horses, but it's fantastic to see them all here, and we are in for such a treat. 83 horses coming forward in total, among them 6 former winners, and the next to come forward is a man who hasn't actually won the Mitsubishi Motors title, one of few that he hasn't won. He has 35 completions, quite an incredible record here at Badminton. It is Andrew Nicholson with the first of his rides, and the first that he brings forward is Kwanzaa, this 14-year-old, the first mare that we've seen on the trot up. And again, looking a little feisty, Andrew having to use all of his experience, strength to keep her under control as she heads back up the trot up.
Yeah, still reasonably experienced though, Kwanzaa. This is actually her fifth event at the top level at 4-star.
Andrew Nicholson's second is 111.
Now this horse
now Nicole
is one who will be familiar to many people. Noreo, 17 years of age now. It's great to see we have 7 17-year-old horses in the field, 2 18-year-olds. We'll see them a little bit later on, but Noreo is going to be one of the ones that you want to watch across the country, because Andrew Nicholson is absolute legend around here, and he is a master of his class across the country. And this is a horse actually that has 7 4-star top 5 finishes. I think I'm right in saying that, and he will be looking to make that number 8 here this weekend. He's got 11 4-stars to his name, and he has been top 5 in 7 of them.
All about Sunday, Nicole. We expect them to be close to the leaderboard at the end of the first phase, at the end of the dressage phase. They're one of the horses that are trending in the 30s in the first phase. We expect them to give a very to certainly be clear jumping. I think they could also be clear time. They're going to be close to it. If not, it's all going to be about keeping those poles up on Sunday.
All about the coloured poles. Well, it is certainly going to be very exciting. Make sure you keep up to date with all of the action. Join in with all of the social media. There'll be lots of behind the scenes action for you as well, but everything will be live streamed, which is fantastic. You will not miss a thing. We promise you that for free. Well, next to present to our ground jury is Hannah Sue Burnett, a young lady who went very well at Rolex last weekend with Under Suspension, finished 5th there, brings forward Harbour Pilot, and this time a horse who will surely have a very good opportunity to feature at the business end of proceedings this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, she's taking huge. You can just see her. He's full of life there. You know that they're taking huge excitement from the Under Suspension result at Rolex. Harbour Pilot is the head of her string. It's the first time that Hannah's been at Badminton. It's the first time Harbour Pilot's been at Badminton. They have been at the top level of the sport, at 4-star level, on 4 occasions previously. So they're not new to the level. It's going to be a little bit about the time cross country.
Well, now presenting is the gentleman who won the individual silver medal in Rio last year. It is Astier Nicolas Piaf de Bonneville. They won team gold for France, and a combination who no doubt will be on many people's radar this weekend, looking to take the Mitsubishi Motors Trophy home to France, because they have very strong form. They were second, as I say, at the Olympics. Winners of Po 4-star as well.
In the top 10 here back in 2013, Nicole. They won Brahman back in 2012, but as you say, that recent form, averaging in the low 40s, jumping clear across country, going inside the time and show jumping clear. This is a horse that many people will have as the favourite for the overall title on Sunday. They're going to be up against some of the biggest names in the sport, but certainly you can expect to see that Frenchman and Piaf de Bonneville right there at the end of play.
So we've seen a couple of our French contenders coming forward already, and next we will see another rider for New Zealand, and it is Dan Jocelyn who comes forward. Dan with the 11-year-old Dassit Cool Touch.
It'll be Daniel Johnson.
Presenting to our ground jury, the three members of the ground jury, remember, and the veterinary delegates as well. This is their first opportunity to see our horse and rider combinations in this first horse inspection, the first of the 2 horse inspections. The other is on Sunday morning before riders look to go forward to the show jumping to complete what is essentially one of the biggest, or is the biggest 4-star in the world. The excitement
it is Nicole.
Just incredible.
This is the day it kicks off, you know. So at the first horse inspection, suddenly the crowds are beginning to gather. The excitement is building all around. Here's Dan now. Dasset Cool Touch. First time at Badminton for the horse, for Dasset Cool Touch. They were 13th at Burley last year, Nicole. But a high dressage, clear jumping round with some time and then some show jumps down. Last year it was enough to get them 13th at Burley. They won't be in the placings this year if they don't drop that dressage score.
Accepted. 19 New Zealand.
Well, we understand news just in, and it is exciting news. You
It's
look like
not
you don't
exciting,
know
it's massive breaking news, Nicole.
that Astier Nicolas, Piaf de Bonneville have been sent to the holding box. So the ground jury obviously not happy with what they've seen, and they will be taking a closer look at him. We'll see him represent to our ground jury in a few minutes.
Nicole, the big one there is that they haven't been out much in 2017 so far. That's what we have to, like. We've seen from the, if we talk about the other favourites, we have seen Sam, we have seen Hale Bob, we haven't yet seen Piaf de Neville much. I know they came unstuck at a national event in Samur, and now they're in the whole box. We'll update you on that as soon as we know more.
Well, we'll come back to Astier very shortly, because currently trotting up is a man who's won the 4-star at Adelaide, and he comes forward with a horse who went well in the dressage at Burley last year, was retired across the country. It is Shane Rhodes with Shanghai Joe. This is an 11-year-old, came from the racetrack a few years ago, and Shane has been based over here, in fact, with Sam Griffiths, who we'll see a little bit later on, basing himself here with a number of horses for the European season in the summer, and certainly making the opportunity to fly back home. Plenty of business interests back in Australia, but very exciting to have him with us. Well, now presenting is Annie Clover, ridden by Nicola Wilson, and this is a mare who is 13 years of age now, by Newmarket Venture. Nicola, who was part of the silver medal winning team for Great Britain at the London Olympics, was pathfinder for so many years with the great opposition Buzz, and this mare experienced at 4-star level, but does have a few blips on the radar, particularly across the country.
Yeah, not too many. I mean, last year they picked up 20 penalties in the CIC 3-star at Bramham, but this is going to be their 6th 4-star, or Annie Clover's 6th 4-star. I mean, if you look at the rider in terms of experience, this is actually Nicola's 22nd 4-star since 2010. So this is her 10th Badminton, Nicole. So second Armada dish coming here, and that's only again since 2010. I think their form at 4-star level in terms of their dressage leaves them in the high 40s, and may pick up some time penalties as well.
Well, if you're just joining us for this first horse inspection, the big news is that the French favourite Astier Nicolas, Piaf de Bonneville are in the holding box. We'll get an update on them. They will be, we think, representing to the ground jury very shortly, but currently presenting, and just taking exception to the crowds that gather to watch the first horse inspection. Always a popular spectacle here at Badminton. It is Nicky Ron Corona. Nicky, 38 years of age, made her Badminton debut back in 2003. She brings forward the 13-year-old Stone Edge. Nicky has ridden on a number of Nations Cup teams for Team GB over the last few years, and it's great to see her back at this very, very top level. So now presenting is a young lady who has, I have no doubt, a very bright future ahead of her. It is Lydia Hannon. Lydia just coming forward in her 2nd ever 4-star, and she brings forward My Royal Touch, this 13-year-old mare by Touchdown.
First time at Badminton for horse and rider. As you say, they have been to 4-star before. Lydia was at Le Moulin in 2016. 50 dressage. Did pick up some jumping penalties, but finished in 24th place.
So Lydia Hannon, My Royal Touch. As we await news on Astier, Nicolas Piaf de Bonneville will get that for you as soon as possible. I have a feeling we might be seeing the French favourite.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Nicole.
In a bit of bother.
Yeah, I think he certainly is in bother. I think it's going to be... look, it's going to be interesting. It's still, right now, well, it's in a whole box. As if you've been to an event before, it means it's very wait and see. There'll be lots of nerves around that camp now. He'll be represented to the ground jury, and a decision will be made from there. But right now, if you're part of a team who has a horse in a whole box, there'll be lots of fretting and worrying as to whether it'll work out.
Well, we'll get an update for you as soon as possible, but Willa Newton is now presenting. Willa comes forward with Chance Remark. This is a 15-year-old bay gelding. Willa, one of the 24 combinations to be accepted from the wait list that is held. And she is certainly one of the most talented young riders on the circuit, based in Leicestershire. Won the big class at Blenheim International on Kaya 20 last year, and certainly has a fantastic string from her base. This certainly one of them, and she will be not at all deterred by the pressure at this level.
No, hard to believe it's her first Badminton.
Is it really?
Yeah, you wouldn't think it's her first Badminton. Willa feels and seems like she's been around the top level and achieving success for so long. You would have thought she'd been here before, but no, a first time for Willa. So great that the badminton crowds are going to get a chance to see her. A real star in the making and on the rise.
Well, this next combination to present is Jessie Campbell for New Zealand. Jessie coming forward with the 14-year-old Carpuccino. And Derm, I'm going to ask you, what are the chances of this combination breaking that elusive 40 barrier in the dressage?
No, you're right, Nicole. At 4-star level, he's one of a few horses trending in the 30s. He trends in there on 39. I don't think he's too many runs to get him to that point, but he has big potential in the first phase. He's got to keep all the poles up, but certainly would expect him to be one of the leaders in the early stages.
Jessie on the New Zealand high performance squad, certainly on the radar of the selectors for future championships. Carpuccino's Achilles heel would perhaps be the show jumping come Sunday, but it'll be very interesting to see how his dressage goes tomorrow. So next to come forward is a badminton first timer, a 4-star first timer, and it is Sarah Parks with Balladeer Durban Hills. Sarah, 29 years of age, based in Warwickshire, and actually we'll see her partner Ben Way coming forward a little bit later on. He's also here competing this weekend. But Sarah, really hard-working, great team of horses, and fantastic to see her at the top level on a horse that she's produced herself right up through the levels. They've had some good results at 3-star.
Yeah, I think the big one there, Nicole, is a clear and inside the time at Belton in 2017. They also jumped clear at Buccleuch in the CCI class at Buccleuch late last year, but certainly that Belton form in the CIC 3-star at Belton, a really strong result, and it's going to give them huge confidence coming in here.
Well, if you are just joining us for this first horse inspection, the news is that Astier, Nicolas Piaf de Bonneville, they're in the holding box. We will get an update for you as soon as it comes through to us. But one of the firm favourites, the individual Olympic silver medalists from Rio, are currently in the hold box, and they will be looking to represent to our ground jury, we think, very shortly. Astier could decide to withdraw from the hold box should he so wish. We'll get an update, as I say, as soon as we can. Well, now to present is one from your neck of the woods, Derm. It is Austin O'Connor for Ireland, and he comes forward with Kilpatrick Knight, a 4-star first run at the level.
Yeah, first run at the level, first run at Badminton for Kilpatrick Knight. Have had some beautiful dressage tests. They travel a lot. Austin based here in the UK, Belton, Tattersalls, Barbary, they've all been in the 40s in...
He's showing off, isn't he?
He just loves to dance. Kilpatrick Knight, one to watch in the first phase.
Is that Austin or Kilpatrick Knight?
Yeah, I don't know about Austin. Kilpatrick Knight loves to dance, a really nice mover, and certainly one to keep an eye on in the first phase. We'd be hoping, I would think, Nicole, hard to say, stepping up to 4-star for the first time, but it'd be nice to see them in there somewhere in the mid-40s.
Well, now presenting is another Frenchman, and it is Jean Tulip. Jean comes forward with the Matelot du Grand Val, this a 17-year-old by Aville de la Cour, and Jean, the oldest rider in the field. I'm sure he won't thank me for saying that. 63 years of age, but in fantastic form nonetheless. And he has quite an incredible record at 4-star level with this horse. Has been clear across the country 6.
He looks good, doesn't he, for 63?
Yeah, hope I look that good at 63.
Yeah, black hair and everything. Very hugely experienced. I mean, when you look at Matelot de Grand Val, 7 runs at the top level in even in the last 7 years. So since he's been a 10-year-old, he's been to Badminton twice already. He's completed it twice already, and the exact same for Jean. So certainly they'll be hoping to bring a lot of that experience and a top 20 finish at Pau as well into Badminton 2017.
Well, one lady coming forward now in her first 4-star, the horse's first 4-star, and she has, one could say, rather exceptional badminton breeding, because it is Lissa Green with Marlin Head Clover, this 15-year-old bay gelding by Amiro, and Lissa, daughter, of course, of the great Lucinda Green, who dominated here for so many years. But Lissa in her own right, because it's very easy to get stuck on talking about her very famous parents, but she's looking to make a name for herself, and actually she has some really good results. Top 10 in Poland last year that secured her qualification to come here to the highest level, and I think Lissa, safe to say, one of the most well turned out we've seen come up.
Yeah, they're very funny. They've had a very funny journey. Anyone following Lissa on social media will realise how funny the journey has been just to get them here. They'd had broken boots, they didn't know their number, she had a cold, she's been asking for recommendations and remedies for about 10 days now on social media. So hugely popular rider, as you say, and I think the whole eventing world will be wishing them well this weekend.
They certainly will, and we'll certainly be among them. It'll be great to see them. As now coming forward, another for Ireland, a strong contingent of the Irish over here this year, and it is Jim Newsom with Magenis, and it's a horse who completed here back in 2014. Jim looking very dapper. He's actually got a pink shirt on, Dunn. What's your take on pink?
Yeah, I mean, if you can do it, I mean, Jim can do it, clearly. If you can get away with it, Nicole, go for it. I mean, I don't know if it'd suit my pale Irish skin, but looks good on Jim. Fair play.
So Magenis presented to our ground jury. Remember, Martin Pluer, our president of the ground jury for Germany, alongside Anne-Mette Binder for Denmark, and also Christina Cooke for Sweden. And the ground jury are in charge of basically working with the competition. So they work with the course designer and technical delegate in the lead up to the competition. They inspect the cross country, pass it fit for competition. They then officiate at the horse inspections like we're watching now, and the dressage. And on cross-country day, they oversee all of the competition as well. They're a vital part of the international competition, and we have 3 of the world's best. But now coming forward to present is none other than the lady from Germany, Bettina Hoy, with Designer 10. Bettina looking as classy as ever. And I have to say, I really fancy this combination's chances this weekend.
Yeah, this is going to be one to watch in the first phase. Designer 10 is likely to be in the top 5, I would suggest, after dressage. There's 3 people in the field who are in the top 10 ever dressage tests at Badminton. Andrew Hoy we've seen already. He holds the record. Michael Young went in there at number 10 last year with his 34.4 on Sam. We'll see more on him later. But Designer 10, and that is not looking good for Designer 10. We see the ground jury gathering at the end. They are conferring now. Will he be sent to the whole box? I was going to say Designer 10. is likely to be in the very best of the horses after a dressage phase. Ringwood Cockatoo, of course, 2003 is the one that I wanted to mention, Nicole, with that record.
Well, Bettina's been around at the very highest level of the sport. It may not be Designer 10 that they are conferring about, because actually about to represent is Astier, Nicolas, Piaf de Bonneville, the Olympic silver medalists who are coming back to present. They've already been in front of our ground jury. They were sent to the hold box. And this is a big one, because the ground jury...
This is a moment, Nicole. This is one of
the first of many moments that we're going to have this weekend.
Yeah, and this is why the drama gets started at Badminton from the Wednesday on. We would not have expected this, and certainly nobody would have wanted this. We're looking at one of the Badminton favourites. He was second at Rio.
And we were looking really to renew the rivalry as well between Michael Young, Astier Nicolas, who of course took individual gold and silver back in Rio. And it'll be really interesting. We're going to watch this very, very closely, because Astier has obviously decided to present at the ground jury again. He could have chosen, if he wasn't happy, to withdraw from the hold box. But I have to say, I'm not entirely sure how comfortable things are looking up the trotting. I mean, I'm not an expert. I wouldn't class myself as a vet.
No, so what the judges are doing there, Nicole, is there'll be judges on the side, they'll be down the end. What they're doing now is they're looking at that horse in trot and deciding if everything is in line and they're happy with, he will go on through. The reason he's in the hold box is he's been re-inspected. There's something they're not happy with. You can see them all taking a closer look, and this is going to be a very big moment. We are going to hear an announcement here. Is he through or is he not?
Well, they're just talking about it. They will all make sure that they're all happy with the decision before they make it. And it is, you know, at the end of the day, horse welfare is absolutely paramount. And they have to be happy that the horse is in the best possible physical condition before they go forward to the competition. They've stepped to one side. And Astier is making his way off the runway. Will try
accepted, Nicole. Accepted. Piaf is in.
Well, that is certainly, I think, safe to say, a dramatic start to this first horse inspection. One of the favourites.
That is not what we wanted. You know, that won't be ideal for them. But certainly high drama as usual, even from the Wednesday of Badminton. I expect that won't be the end of the drama for Piaf de Bonneville.
Not at all. He will be doing his dressage, of course, tomorrow, and will be around late morning lunchtime, we do believe. But now we turn our attentions to Claire Abbott at Four Islands. Claire coming forward with her Olympic ride from Rio, a Euro Prince. And this horse, 14 years of age now, by Loughery's quiet man, but has been a real superstar for Claire over the years.
Oh yeah, Claire is actually a maths teacher, part-time in Ireland. Works hard herself, and her mum Katherine, very involved in eventing Ireland, really well known at home, really well liked, and always bring a good fan base to whatever event they go to. You'll be sure that there'll be lots of Claire Abbott fans out around Badminton this weekend.
Well, here is a man for the ladies. Who doesn't love a man in uniform? Because coming forward is Lieutenant Colonel Thibaut Valette. And he presents King de Brio, the horse on whom he won Olympic team gold in Rio last year, went double clear in Rio, had time penalties across the country. It was the horse's first four-star. I personally feel, Derm, you may disagree with me, that this combination have a serious chance this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got dressage scores in the 30s in their last 6 runs. They had a 38.5 at Chatsworth. They had a 35 at Fontainebleau last year. They don't run very often. Neither horse nor rider have been to Badminton before, but you're dead right. I think that they've got a great chance. They're very good jumpers in both phases. It shouldn't add too much time penalties. So I think you're right, Nicole. I think that's a good pick. A first-timer at Badminton, a first-time horse at Badminton. Not an easy one to pick. I think you've got a good one there.
I think I'm right in saying, in fact, that Thibaut Valette, Rio, was his first four-star.
Number 37.
Yeah, you're right. That's their only. That's their only four-star horse and rider.
Won Olympic Games at the very highest level, as now presenting to our ground jury is possibly one of the most popular combinations on the circuit. It is Camilla Spears with Porter-sized Just a Jiff. 17 years of age now, Jiffy, but still looking as good as ever.
Oh, as good as ever. And, you know, they've been written off on a number of occasions. They've had to fight back on a number of occasions. And last year was their best year. They had a big climb through the leaderboard this time last year. Made it into the top 10. They were ninth. They've been second at Buccleuch. They made it into they were sixth at Nicole last year.
They had two top 10
4-stars,
16 years of age, and Porter-sized Just a Jiff, 2 top 10 finishes.
He loves it here as well. I think he'll be delighted to be back.
Next, former world
Well, I
champion,
think
reigning Olympic and
that the
European
next
champion,
man that we're about to see
and the second winner of the
is
Rolex
for Germany.
From
And it
Germany,
is none
it
other
is Nico
than the
Young
world
bringing forward
number one.
family Young,
Michael Young
Youngs,
comes
Jan
forward
Bustertek
with
Sam,
Le Bies
number
Statique
38
Sam,
Germany.
the reigning champions here at Badminton. They set a record last year. What records are they going to set in 2017?
There's so many, Nicole. I think the big one is that they have an opportunity to finish on their dressage score. So they set the record last year, 34.4, as the lowest finishing score. In the top 10 ever dressage scores, that one was. Will they be able to get beyond it? They're going to try and match a certain Frenchman, Maxime Levio, to be one of the only, who's now the only horse in the world, Cloud Mare, who actually has 3 finish on their dressage score consecutively. This is certainly in your top 2, Nicole, in the favourites for Badminton. He's strong, he's fresh and excited, but he's looking good, and you can expect him to be there at the end on Sunday.
Well, I, for one, certainly cannot wait to see him. Michael Young is coming forward with Le Bies Statique Sam, his sole ride here this year, but what a ride it is. Surely going to be one that will be challenging for that £100,000 first prize. So we're halfway through this first horse inspection. A very, very warm welcome if you're just joining us at Badminton, live streaming throughout the competition. You won't miss any of the action. And now presenting is another rider for France. It is Gwendoline Furr. Gwendoline, 31 years of age. I was going to say 21. That was a couple of years ago. I'm sure she'll pass the 21 and won't complain. But Gwendoline brings forward Romantic Love. 12 years of age, this horse. And a combination that had a couple of poles down in the show jumping, I think I'm right in saying, last year, that dropped them out of the top 10 here, Dom.
Yeah, 2 down, you're right, Nicole. 2 down last year. It was expensive because they had a clear inside the time. It had put them in a great position, but they still managed to stay in the top 20. So they finished 16th, but those 2 poles were very, very expensive on the last day. The show jumping is, it's probably their weakest phase, but let's not write that off. Last year, 4-star level, their first 4-star, or Romantic Love's first 4-star. He was here at Badminton and he went clear inside the time. That's a combination to keep an eye on Saturday.
Well, I've got another combination for you to keep an eye on Saturday now, because the next combination making their 4-star debut, the horse making his debut at this level, Katherine Coleman, looking to make her first 4-star completion for the United States of America. She comes forward with Longwood. This horse, 15 years of age, by the wonderful Irish sire Limerick, but a combination that have incredible form in that second phase. They are fast and they are very, very good across the country.
Yeah, absolutely, Nicole. Very reliable jumpers. Now they're stepping up. Longwood's stepping up to 4-star for the first time. Katherine and himself are at Badminton for the first time, but certainly their form at the lower levels would suggest one to watch on God, he looks strong. One to watch on Saturday. A very strong jumper, and as you can see, he is ready to go already.
One to keep an eye on, definitely, and great to see Katherine Coleman for the United States of America. The US have a really strong contingent coming over here, all lady riders and all making their Badminton debut. Well, now coming forward is for Italy. They were one of the last combinations to be accepted from the waitlist. 24 combinations in total come forward from the waitlist, and it is Pietro Sando with Mouse. And this is a horse that was produced to 3-star level by Sir Mark Todd, who we've already seen present his 2 rides, and another man in uniform.
You love the man in uniform, Nicole. From a form point of view, they've been to 2 4-stars. Mouse has been to 2 4-stars. It's going to be his first phase that, that he, I suppose, is going to keep them around certainly the middle of the phase. They're in the mid-50s in terms of their dressage, but very, very strong jumpers on Saturday.
18 years of age now. We have 2 horses 18 years of age in the field, 7 that are 17 years of age. And it is great to see these horses coming back year after year, looking better and better. And huge credit must go to the entire team for all of their hard work.
Irish horse, Nicole.
Say no more, Deb. Say no more. Well, now presenting is an Irish rider.
And another Irish horse.
And another Irish horse. It is 40-year-old Joseph Murphy. Joseph with the 16-year-old Sportsfield Othello. And this combination's 4th consecutive visit to us here at the Mitsubishi Motors Badminton Horse Trials. And they've had 3 completions already. They'll be looking to make it 4 come Sunday evening. But a strong combination for the Irish over the years. They've been real talisman of the Irish team, haven't they?
Well, yeah, and they've always operated at the top end of the sport. This is actually, Sportsfield Othello is doing his 10th 4-star, and he's had 9 runs so far, 8 completions. So you're right, Nicole. Certainly one that feels like he's been around a long time. You're probably looking at a low 50s dressage, clear round, and then again it's going to come down to Sunday. Can he keep the poles up? With a low 50s dressage, you can still be in the top 20, you can still be in the top 15, but you have to finish on it. Any addition to that, and suddenly you begin to slip down that leaderboard. It'll boil down to Sunday, I expect, for that pair.
Well, now presenting to our ground jury is Emily Gilruth. Emily with Topwood Bow. 14 years of age now, this horse made their Badminton debut back in 2016, went clear across the country 12 months ago, lost a shoe, but how heartbreaking must that be to have to withdraw before that final horse inspection on Sunday morning?
Yeah, very tough. I mean, this is the first horse inspection, so you're referencing it there, Nicole. Sunday morning will be the 2nd horse inspection. After the horses have been cross-country on Saturday, there'll be another horse inspection on the Sunday. We'll get to see everyone again, and we will then, and that will again assess how fit and ready the horses are for the final day of having been through the cross-country challenge on the Saturday. So we're seeing them now before the event kicks off. We will have a 2nd horse inspection again on the Sunday. If you've been through the dressage, you've gotten through the cross-country, and you get spun out at the last horse inspection, you're right, it is absolutely heartbreaking, but often the riders will know, and they'll know it's the right decision for the horse.
Well, at the end of the day, it is all about these equine athletes, and the next combination to come forward is the youngest lady in the field this year, in fact the youngest rider in the field this year, at 23 years of age. Imogen Murray, another rider to be accepted off that wait list, and she comes forward with the 10-year-old Ivor Gooden, a horse in his first 4-star. Imogen went to Burley back in 2014 on her debut, completed that was with Wise Guy, but a new challenge for her Badminton debut, and it's not an easy job to come here because everybody talks about this event as the biggest, the best in the world, and with it comes a certain amount of pressure and expectation.
Absolutely, but look, she's now got that out of her way. She's got, I suppose, it'll be a relief to her that she's done her first 4-star, and she comes here. She's still only 23. I think there's no real pressure on her. She's likely to be in the. Hopefully, looking at Ivor Gooden over the last 12 months, it's 50 in the dressage. We're averaging from 6 runs, 3 clears, and 1 inside the time. So 10-year-old, and every right to be here. It's going to be exciting.
Well, now presenting is Ros Cantor. Ros, for Great Britain, comes forward with All-Star B, and I have to say, Ros is only little. I think she stands at around 5'2". All-Star B is absolutely enormous.
He's big.
And he is looking very full of himself. He was so unfortunate to have to be withdrawn after the dressage last year. It wasn't quite right. And I think he's rather taken charge, don't you?
Yeah, she doesn't have much say in this horse inspection, in this jog. But Nicole, you're a big fan of All Star B. You're expecting them to spring a surprise.
I think this is a combination that could feature in the top 10. They've had 2 4-stars under their belt, both at Burghley, both with 20 penalties across the country. But little niggly things. Roz is on incredible form this year, and I just think a combination.
Yeah, and
with
averaging 46 or averaging 43.6 from All Star B's 2 4-star runs. We talk about other horses in that region. You're looking at Leonidas, maybe Campino just a little bit ahead, but certainly All Star B. Yes, it's only 2 runs, but that dressage average is good enough to keep them in the placings, and they've got a very good show jumping record. You're right, Nicole. Though All Star B all going to be about Saturday.
Well, our next German coming forward, and another with excellent eventing breeding in his bloodlines, because his father was the Olympic champion back in 2008. It is Klaas Hermann Romecker, 24 years of age, and he comes forward with Cato 60. 13 years of age, this horse has done 3 4-stars, completed them all, but their first trip to Badminton.
Their first trip to Badminton, averaging 47.2 at 4-star level, Cato 60, and two clear jumping rounds from 3, Nicole. So they're likely, they could spring a surprise. Lemoulin, they picked up a 20 last year, but other than that, Lemoulin 2017, they've been to Lemoulin 2017, but that was only CIC 2-star. But other than that, it's a clear jumping record.
Well, now presenting another rider for Ireland, and it is Michael Ryan. He wears number 48 throughout the weekend, and he comes forward with the 12-year-old Dunlop striker. Michael has completed Badminton on all 5 occasions that he's been here, but this horse's first visit to 4-star.
Yeah, striker hasn't been to Badminton and hasn't been to 4-star. But again, first phase is what I think this is going to, for Michael, this is going to all be about getting him here, getting him to the level. He's 12 now, like just helping him feel the pressure of a big 4-star. He currently averaging in the 50s in the dressage. That wouldn't challenge, but I think he's probably got other things in his mind. He wants to educate striker this weekend.
Well, for those of you that love the fashion aspect of the first horse inspection, this young lady never fails to disappoint. It is one of the top British riders on the circuit, Laura Collet, and Laura comes forward with Grand Maneuver, a horse that she's already completed on here at Badminton, went double clear last year. Laura, I think she's got her running boots on.
She has such a funny run, doesn't she?
Great to see her at the highest level. And actually, this is a horse that produced a phenomenal test when competing as an individual at Blair Castle for the European Championships. We're in the 30s on that occasion. Laura was the dressage leader back on her Badminton debut in 2011 with Ray F. After the Thursday's dressage, 36.5 she scored back in 2011 on that horse. And this is a horse that's more than capable of scoring that again.
Yeah, exactly right, Nicole. I think Grand Maneuver will be one of the horses that Team GB fans this weekend will be hoping can leave them in a strong place after the first phase. He jumps big cross country, but he is...
high jinks.
But he's certainly... You're right, Nicole. I think Laura and Grand Maneuver are likely to be at the top end of the Team GB leaderboard on Friday. They may be at the top end of the overall leaderboard as well.
Well, a rather feisty entrance to their first horse inspection for Lynn Szymanski for the United States of America. She brings forward the 14-year-old Donna, who looks less than impressed with the whole situation. It must be said, very full of beans. And...
This is a cross-country machine, guys. He was the reserve for the US team at Rio 2016. He will be hoping for a very tough cross-country challenge on Saturday, I would expect. The harder the competition in that middle phase, the better Donner's going to do. He's averaging a mid-40s over his last 6 runs in the dressage. From 6 4-stars, it's 52.9, but it's five clear cross country jumping from 6, 2 of those inside the time. He's fast, he jumps clear, he's looking strong there. You'd expect that if he can get his dressage into the 40s, he could well finish on it.
News just in, Dunn. This is seriously exciting because it has just come through to us that Grand Maneuver has gone to the holding box.
That is not exciting, Nicole.
Well, no,
devastated.
It is not exciting,
but it's big breaking news.
It is
You're dead
big
right.
breaking
yeah.
news because this is, it must be said, one of possibly the most nerve-wracking moments of the competition for a lot of riders, because to get to this stage of the competition and to not make it into the competition must be heartbreaking.
Well, look, we have to take great faith from the fact that Piaf de Neuville went through that whole box, trotted up, and went through on his re-inspection. I'm hoping and I'm confident that hopefully he can come through in that second one. They've seen something that we can't see from our position, and he's in the whole box. We'll keep you posted on that.
Well, we'll get an update for you as soon as we can. But now presenting is Tom McEwen with Toledo de Cursa, and a horse I know, Derm, you're a huge fan of, particularly come Sunday, should they be in the reckoning.
This is actually the best show jumping record in the field. If you can get a chance to see these guys on Sunday, make sure you do. Wonderful show jumpers, dressage improving all the time. They've a good clear cross country record as well, Nicole. They're here because they want to really lay down a place for Team GB. Now with Chris Bartle at the helm, Tom, it's a new era, and he's going to be hoping he can get himself on a plane to Stragom. A big badminton here for Toledo de Cursa, and Tom would certainly lay down the marker that Zara has set with High Kingdom at Rolex last weekend.
Well, they'll certainly be looking to impress, as you say, and one lady who'll be looking to impress for an Irish ticket to those European Championships is Sarah Ennis. Sarah comes forward with the 13-year-old horse where stellar rebound. Sarah in the world's top 100 riders and has a good deal of success with this horse. They finished 20th at Po 4-star last year, and certainly ones to watch. Sarah, a very, very good rider across the country.
Very good rider, very experienced, and Rocket is a joy to behold in the first phase. He's very strong cross country, 6 from 6 clear jumping rounds in the last 12 months, but try and get a piece of this horse in their extended trot tomorrow. It is really, really good to see. Sarah and Rocket I just love watching them even warm up. They're so great to watch, and certainly they'll be hoping for a big weekend. Rocket is going to be trying to get himself back onto that Team Ireland programme now with Sally Corskaden at the helm. It's a new start for us all.
Well, Galley Light now trotting up, and I think Ben Way just being clipped a little there. I'm not sure Ben would be sound if he has to trot up in front of the Grand Jury after that. But Ben, one of the top young riders on the British circuit, and in fact a rider who works full-time as well. He manages to fit in his eventing around his work as an estate agent and went very, very well here last year because they added just 0.4 of a time penalty from the cross-country for being 1 second over the time to their dressage score. That was the score they finished on. They finished 12th 12 months ago. They've been the best first-timer here as well, and certainly a combination that could put in a big performance.
It just shows you, Nicole, 52.5, but they pretty much finished on it. Just 0.4 they added. They show jump clear and added no time in the show jumping. If your dressage is in that 48 to 52 area, you still do have a chance to pull out a very big result. You just can't add to it. And that's exactly what Ben Way demonstrated last year. He's back, a little bit more experience and ready to go again.
Well, Karen Donkers for Belgium now presenting, and she brings forward Fletcher van ter Verhoef. This a 12-year-old. Karen, who's so experienced, has ridden for Belgium at no fewer than 8 European Championships, 5 World Equestrian Games, 6 Olympics. The list really does go on. 19 in total senior championship appearances for Karen. And this a horse only won 4-star at Po under his belt from last year. Things didn't go to plan for them in Rio, but they'll be looking to improve upon those fortunes in 2017. Well, Laura Collet, if you're just joining us, Laura Collet is in the holding box with Grand Maneuver. They have presented to our ground jury. They weren't happy with something that they saw, so they've been sent to the holding box for a closer inspection. We'll see them represent very shortly, and we'll get an update for you as soon as possible. But now presenting is for Great Britain, Becky Woolven. Becky with Charlton Down River Dance. This an 11-year-old by Talibard Shakespeare. Beautifully marked horse. Went so well at Burghley last year on their 4-star debut as both a horse and rider combination. Went clear across the country. Come forward to their first Badminton. And looking very full of beans as they go to present. The trot up here at Badminton, the first horse inspection, often referred to as the trot up, being held in front of Badminton House. And it's the first opportunity for not only the ground jury, but also for everybody watching around the world to get their first look at these horses and riders. And it's great to be able to bring you the live coverage of it here. Badminton making the live coverage available throughout the weekend. Do make sure you follow all of the action. Get involved on social media as well. And the first horse goes into the dressage tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and you cannot miss any of the tests. There's a watch again function as well. Just go onto the Badminton website for more information. But Becky Woolven and Charlton Down River Dance, they complete their first horse inspection. And now coming forward, a combination that have been at the very top of the sport for a very long time. It is Izzy Taylor for Great Britain. Izzy, who's had some really rotten luck over the last couple of years. She's been selected for numerous British teams, and through one reason and another hasn't been able to make it. She missed out on the Olympics last year through injury, had a top 10 finish with Alec Amelli here at Badminton last year, but she comes forward with the old timer, 17 years of age now, KBIS Bryland's Matilda, and a horse who on her day is very good. She went very well at the European Championships, was Izzy's reserve horse, called up after an injury to her original selection, but pulled it out of the bag, just missed out on a medal. They had a pole down in the show jumping, which was really unfortunate for them. They ended up in 6th place, a great result, but not the medal they would have perhaps hoped. They'll be looking to put in a strong performance this weekend, and this is a mare that's certainly very capable of going well across the country. Not always the most reliable horse across the country, it must be said, so one to keep a close eye on Sunday. Well, now coming forward is Blythe Tate, a legend here at Badminton, a man who has an exceptional record of finishing on his dressage score, and he presents for New Zealand with Bare Necessity the 5th.
Well, we had an interview with Blythe earlier in the year. He's confident. Bare Necessity's coming back here. He's a good record. He's experienced at 4-star level. Bare Necessity's been at 3 4-star level competitions, completed all 3, clear jumping in all 3. One of those was inside the time. He has show jump clear as well.
And it was interesting actually, because last year Blythe was going for the time, was held out on course because of a fall of another rider. His watch wouldn't restart, and that meant that he got a few time penalties, which just dropped him down the order. Well, now they are reconvening the ground jury.
This is going to be Laura.
So this must be Laura Collet, Grand Maneuver, coming back from the hold box. Now, if you're just joining us, they have been sent to the hold box, having already presented to our ground jury. Obviously not happy with something that they've seen. And this is a horse that's been in very good form over the spring campaign in the build-up to Badminton. Laura's really looked after him. So we'll be keeping absolutely everything crossed that it wasn't anything to really note, that the ground jury will be happy that he is safe and sound to continue on in the competition. The second horse we've seen go in the hold box, the first was of course for France, Astier Nicolas Piaf de Bonneville, who were then re-accepted upon representation to our ground jury. But they'll have a chat with the vet that has been in the hold box and who will have taken a closer look at the horse. And as they take their position back for this first horse inspection. We will keep everything
So
crossed
to the
for Laura Collet
inspection now
and
of
Grand
number
Maneuver, who
49,
will trot
Grand
up
Maneuver.
once again in front of the ground jury.
Fingers crossed, Nicole. This is a big moment for Laura and for Milo.
One, two, three, four, five, five, four, three, two, one.
A horse that has had some good results here at Badminton, as I say, double clear last year. And Laura, no better jockey. She's got a great team of horses on the go at the moment.
Can we mention him? Can we mention him?
You have a bit of a love affair with Mr. Bass, one of her top young horses, don't you,
Well, she
Dave?
has a young horse coming
Five,
through.
five,
It was a
four,
world
three,
champion
two,
back at
one.
Leon. You can
Number
expect
49,
to see
Grand
him
Maneuver goes through.
on this jog in the coming years. Mr. Bass, he'll be at 4-star level before too long. But right now it's Grand Maneuver, and I think that
He's
looked
through.
like an accepted. Great,
He
he's
has
in.
been accepted. So that means that all of the horses that have presented to our ground jury so far have been accepted into the competition. That would have been a heart-stopping moment for Laura. She will be absolutely delighted that that is behind her. She can now focus on the dressage.
Lisa Wallace, simply priceless.
Coming forward for the United States
Wow.
of America. And we haven't seen many skirts on the trot up so far this afternoon.
No, we have not. First time at Badminton, Nicole, for Elisa, and first time at Badminton for Simply Prices. I'm not getting drawn into that, Nicole. I can see you smiling at me.
I think it's safe to say you're not going to cast your fashion expert opinion, are you, Deb?
I don't have one.
That's okay. Alyssa Wallace and Simply Priceless, a combination who are very, very good across the country. So certainly watch out for them.
You're right.
Saturday.
You're right, Nicole. Very strong 4-star cross-country jumpers.
Well, another Frenchman coming forward. And at 59 years of age now, Pascal Leroy has a huge amount of experience. Comes forward with the 17-year-old Minot de Petre. This a horse by Sio de Bougie. And has been to Badminton on 5 occasions, this horse, and always clear across the country. That is some record.
Absolutely some record, Nicole. And it's actually his 16th 4-star, Minos de Petre. You'll find very few horses in the field with more than that. In 2015, he did a dressage score of 46.6. That year, 2015, was actually his best finishing score as well. That was 61.4. So yes, he's been jumping clear. He can't afford to add anything either in show jumping or in the to a dressage score. He hasn't yet jumped clear in the show jumping. He'll be hoping to turn that round on Sunday.
Yours family, number 63.
Well, now coming forward is a member of the Brazilian team at those home Olympics in Rio last year. What an experience that was, and what a gentleman this young man is, because it is Marcio George. And Marcio coming forward with Lissy McWeyer, this a 14-year-old mare, and a combination who I'm going to say we should put it out there, Dunn, that people should watch this combination come Friday, because they scored a very impressive 32.5 at 3-star level, so at the level below last year, but more than capable of really pulling it out the bag on Friday.
Exactly right, Nicole. Very strong in that first phase. Also, they have travelled all around the world to event. They've evented in Brazil. They've been in the US. They've been in Ireland. They visited us. They've competed here on numerous occasions. They've competed at 2-star level, 3-star level, Pan Am's, Olympics. They've been at every different level. And they're very, very good cross-country horses, or a very, very good cross-country pair, I should say. They do add some time penalties. They are liable to a show jump down, although they did jump clear at Burnham already this year.
Well, the Irish come forward with a really, really strong field this year, and the next to present to our ground jury in this first horse inspection is Dominic Furnell, a first-timer here at Badminton, and he comes forward with Ballycahane Flower Power, and this is a horse that he's produced himself completed at Pau last year in the 4-star there. Their first Badminton, though.
You're right, Nicole. Their first Badminton, horse and rider. Last year, I mean, I guess we can't avoid it. It's all going to be about the first phase. Can they get a dressage into the 50s is what they'll be hoping for. At CIC 2-star level in Kililkey last year, they did a 50, or in 2014 they did a 50.8, but other than that we're into the 60s, and that's going to have to improve at this level.
So now presenting will be our sole representative for Canada, and it is a lady who is certainly very, very experienced, 31 years of age, Catherine Robinson, and she comes forward with a horse who has been an absolute superstar for her. 16 years of age now, let it be, and they represented Canada at the Olympics last year.
As you say, Nicole, very experienced horse and rider at the top level. They've been here before, but they've also, this is going to be their 6th run at top level, at 4-star level, their 6th run. So experienced horse, experienced rider. She won't be phased by Badminton.
Let it be accepted.
They need all the phases to come together for them. They've had days when they've done great dressage. They've had days then when they've come unstuck cross country. They've had some pulls down, but not many. They tend to be very good jumpers, but even one pull down can be expensive here. If they can get everything together, worth keeping an eye on. But it's all going to be about the dressage. If they can stay sub 50, it will put them into a very strong position.
Well, they were double clear here last year, but those time penalties across the country dropped them down the order. So we'll watch out for them. As another combination to come forward with excellent 4-star form, it is Paul Sims for Great Britain with Glenn Garnock. This a 15-year-old by a horn. And another combination coming forward in their 4th consecutive Badminton. 3 completions under their belt, 3 completions at Burghley as well. They're very experienced at 4-star level, and I'm no doubt they will be looking forward to their favourite phase on Saturday.
Yeah, picked up at 20 penalties last year at Burghley and last year at Badminton. So they're going to be hoping for a happier cross-country day at top level. They did a 50.3 here last year and had a 20 and then had 3 down, which left them in 41st place. Glenn Garnock is a horse that has some good results on his record, so Paul is certainly going to be coming back here hoping to improve on last year. I think the results between Badminton last year and coming into this year, he'll be hoping for a better showing.
Well, Danielle Dunn coming forward now in her first Badminton, the horse's first Badminton, and in fact as a combination their first 4-star as well. It is Danielle Dunn, 24 years of age, Danny, with Zakala BLH, 13 years of age this mare, and a combination that went very, very well at 3-star level, so the level below 4-star as we're competing here over the weekend. But more than ready to make the step up. They've got solid jumping performances at that level, and will no doubt be looking to transfer that form over to the weekend.
Yeah, and again, that Belton form from 2017 is the one to keep an eye on. 52.2 in the dressage in the CIC 3-star class at Belton. They added 8 penalties in cross-country time, did 1 down, and they had some show jumping time penalties. So that's probably your strongest form line. They've got lots of clears in 2016, as you say, at the level below. Belton, Chatsworth, Bramham, Hartbury, Blenheim, all jumping clear. Picked up time in all those places, but as you say, Nicole, a first 4-star for horse and rider, a first Badminton for horse and rider. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Well, now coming forward is for Italy, a combination who are based in France, compete for Italy and making their Badminton debut. It is Arianna Chivo with Quifera Delormeau.
Good pronunciation, Nicole.
Well, We try. It's not always right, but we try.
I can't really slag you with my accent, can I?
No language barrier.
No, well, they were at the Olympics last year. They picked up 20. They did a 55 in Rio and did one down in the show jumping. 34th place they finished. But it's the big thing that you're seeing there, also European form, is that they've been on the big occasion before. They won't be phased by the big atmosphere and pressure that comes with arriving at a venue like this, so they'll be hoping for a clear cross-country round.
I have to say, Dan,
yeah.
I think they are the whitest trousers we have seen so far today. James Somerville comes forward in his first 4-star with talent.
Yeah, they are white trousers. You like talent. He's a
I'm
good
a big fan. Big fan of this combination. They have very, very solid jumping performances at the level below. More than ready to make the step up. He will be looking to keep a lid on it in the dressage and get through to the jumping phases.
Talent accepted. 73.
So well into the latter stages of this first horse inspection now. Everything live on the Badminton website throughout the weekend. Do remember to get involved, get in touch on social media and to keep up to date with all of the action.
Let's see what this chap is wearing.
Now, for those of you who have watched a number of horse inspections, this man is always one of the most well turned out. It is for Australia, Paul Tapner. Paul coming forward with Bonza, King of Rouge. I think at the Burley Trotter there were pugs on his shirt.
Yes, he's worn all sorts of colourful shirts and blazers at the trot-ups. But the main thing, Nicole, is that we are looking at one of the most experienced and most reliable cross-country riders. Here at Badminton, Paul has, just in recent years, he's 8 from 8. But actually that stretches further. That stretches back before 2010. Is it as many as 12? This could be his 12th or 13th Badminton performance now, I think.
He's had 12 completions, and of course in those completions we cannot forget 2010 when he took the title with the great I Know Nothing and pulled himself up from 11th after the dressage. And he will certainly be a combination to watch across the country. The Red Thunder from Down Under, as he is often known on the circuit. I don't think you want to know how that came about in Australia.
Just calls himself that.
Maybe, yes, maybe. Well, now to present is our sole representative from Japan. It is Yoshi Iowa with a horse that has already been successful at 3-star level this year, the Duke of Cavan. And this one of the most experienced horses in the field. Yoshi himself, very, very experienced. You may well remember he was the chap who led the dressage at the Olympics in London. Things didn't go to plan across the country, but is certainly very, very strong in that first phase.
Absolutely, and they were back at Rio in 2016, Nicole, a 47 at Rio and a clear jumping round over that difficult track. We will remember it from the summer. It's their first time for horse and rider at Badminton, so the Duke of Cavan only 11, but certainly some of the results on his record would get, he's an exciting one, Nicole. Averaging in the 40s, if we look at his last 6 runs at 4-star level, he's only been here once, but it was a 47. He keeps the show jumps up. I think this could be a surprise package, Nicole. Maybe not for a win, but could he potentially sneak into the top 10?
Well, it would be a fantastic result for Japan if they can see themselves feature in the top 10 or even the top 20. It would be a great result. The Duke of Cavan at the first horse inspection. Is now coming forward is Tom Jackson. Tom with Waltham Fiddler's Find, a horse that he's produced himself. Some 14 years of age now by Jet Set. The wonderful sire who has plenty of progeny out there at the very highest level of the sport, and a combination that won the big CCI under-25 championships at Bramham back in 2014, were actually selected to go for Team GP to the Blair Championships for the European Championships back in 2015. Unfortunately missed out. Things didn't quite go to plan for them in the build-up, but definitely a young man with a very, very bright future ahead of him.
Now for the Netherlands.
Well, next to come forward in
with
Dutch orange, our sole representative for the Netherlands, and it is Alice Neighbour-Lozeman,
78.
45 years of age now. Alice brings forward Harry Belafonte, 14 years of age. Harry and Alice, so experienced at road for the Netherlands, out in Rio with Peter Parker, has been to 3 European Championships as well. Finished 4th in the team at Blair Castle back in 2015 and has 3 badminton completions to her name as well.
Yeah, and this horse, don't forget as well, Nicole, last year at Buccleuch, did a 53 dressage, but they finished on it. It left them in 8th place at that CCI class in Buccleuch. Another horse who is strong in the cross country.
Strong in the trot up too.
Strong in the trot up. They came unstuck last year at Burley.
He's taken himself back to the stables.
Yeah, I think he was. Don't think anyone had control as to where he was going.
Well, the next combination to come forward to present to our ground jury, and this a horse who is personally one of my favourites because he is an absolute superstar, obviously feeling very, very well. Arctic Soul comes forward with Gemma Tattersall, and they were the highest placed Brits here last year. Pulled themselves up after the dressage, didn't they, Jem? They were 16th after the first phase, but an incredible round across the country on the Saturday 12 months ago made all the difference.
You don't see climbs of that nature too often. So Arctic Soul climbing from 16th into 3rd. Last year, that result here at Badminton, Gemma and Arctic Soul was the only podium 4-star finish for a Team GB rider. Now, Zara's done that already for you guys at Rolex, but certainly Spike is looking ready. He's looking strong.
I think he wants to go cross-country
and
now.
He is ready to go again. This is a horse, guys, if you can see on Saturday, make sure you do. He's
something special.
He is very special, and Gemma has been aiming. Off he goes. Off he goes.
Bye, Gemma.
But certainly, as you can see there, he's strong, he's ready, he's fit, and Saturday, guys, Arctic Soul, don't miss it.
Well, Gemma will be hoping to keep a lid on all of that exuberance tomorrow or on Friday in the dressage, as now coming forward for France is Helene Vattier with Quito de Bellier. Are you sniggering at my pronunciation?
I honestly, you know that I can't snigger. I leave you say those names because it would sound even worse for me.
Well, this combination finished 15th in fact in Pau last year, so good 4-star form for them. They did in fact come to Badminton 12 months ago, didn't complete, so they'll be looking to rectify that. They've got something to prove, and certainly another horse to be looking so well at this first horse inspection. Great to see. And remember, it's our ground jury's first opportunity to get sight of all of the horses coming forward that they're going to be judging in the dressage phases over the next couple of days. The ground jury's such an important role at these events. And we have 3 of the best in the world here this weekend. Martin Pleur, the president for Germany, he was on the ground jury back at the Hong Kong Olympics in Beijing in 2008. He's joined on the ground jury by Anne-Mette Binder for Denmark, who was president of the London Olympics. And finally, Christina Klingsport, who has just returned from judging at Rolex last week. But now presenting, it is Sydney Dufresne for France with Reliquaire. And this is a horse coming forward in his 4-star debut. And Sydney, a former stable jockey to none other than Mark Todd. So no doubt he'll be getting some very valuable advice ahead of the 3 phases coming up over the next couple of days. But competed for France at both junior and young rider level, and will be looking to make a big impression on their badminton debut. Now though, we see Joris van Springel for Belgium, and this a combination who have been around for a very, very long time. Another of the horses 18 years of age. We've 2 of them in the field, but Lully de Aulnay is the second that we see of those. Brilliant to see him looking so well, and has certainly given Joris a fantastic run at 4-star in the past.
Been here twice before, Nicole, completed twice, averaging a mid-50 dressage, and has has jumped a clear show jumping around at Badminton as well. Likely to be looking at mid-50s. I think probably the last time you'll see him here at Badminton potentially.
And it's important to note as well that the horses that are coming forward now, they are all going to be featuring in the pressure cooker of the main arena on Friday afternoon when the atmosphere really hots up. And Blythe Tate has actually been his championship horse for the last 3 Europeans, as well as the World Equestrian Games, as well as Rio. So that is going to give them a huge advantage going into that massive atmosphere in the main arena. Next, come forward for Great Britain. A strong British contingent here, as you would expect. It is Tom Crisp. Tom presents his regular 4-star partner, Cooley's Luxury. They've never completed here at Badminton. They've certainly done a number of 4-stars, 8 4-stars to their name. But Badminton hasn't in the past been a happy hunting ground for them.
No, Badminton hasn't been the one. And also retired last year at Burley. But other than that, they've completed all the others. There's a Lemoulin in there, a Poe. They're averaging somewhere probably in the low 50s. Tend to jump clear. You have jump clear. Plenty of clear jumping cross-country rounds under their belt already. I think the big thing Tom will want for Cooley's Luxury is to make sure they get that completion under the belt. There's nothing worse than being here and not coming home with the result. They'll just want to make sure they complete.
Not at all. And actually one lady who would be rather happy to forget 12 months ago is the lady now presenting it, is Sarah Bullimore for Great Britain with Rev de Rouet, a horse by Balou de Rouet, who has some excellent form at 4-star, was top 20 at Lemoulin last year, but things, it is safe to say, did not go to plan for them in the dressage 12 months ago. A very hot horse can be affected by the atmosphere, and that could really be influential coming into the main arena on a Friday afternoon.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, Friday afternoon, it is going to be a pressure cooker. There's going to be lots of people there. All eyes are very much on you. You're going to be in with a lot of the hot favourites for the competition. But Rev de Rouet, one of the most experienced. I mean, Rev de Rouet is only 13, Nicole. This is going to be his 9th 4-star. You know, he's been to Lexington back in 2014, where they did a 52.7 dressage. And they had picked up a little bit of cross-country time, but if that was it, they finished in 13th place that day.
Well, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed for Sarah in the dressage on Friday, but this next man was the winner back here in 2014 on this very horse. It is Sam Griffiths for Australia with Paul Brocker, and this mare, 14 years of age now. The horse on whom he won in 2014, as I say, but also that he took to the Olympic Games in Rio last year, finished in 4th place individually. And if they can be in touch after the first phase, they have serious claims on winning that title once again.
You're right, Nicole. I think this is probably one of the overlooked horses in the field. The bigger and harder and tougher Eric Winter's cross-country course is, the better Paul Brock is going to do.
And the happier Sam Griffiths will be.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a few clouds gathering outside this studio now. I think that would really make their day. Paul Brock, Arctic Soul. There'll be a few horses.
There'll be a few rain dances.
There's a few rain dances. Zara was rain dancing at Rolex last weekend. Her wish came true. I'd say there's a few people in the stables down there, and that horse you've just seen, he will be one of them. But make no mistake, he has the potential to finish on his dressage score in any weather. A very, very strong one. And look who we have coming, Nicole.
One of my favourites, I have to say, for Ireland, John T. Evans. And John T. comes forward with his Olympic ride from Rio last year, finished top 10 in Brazil. Cooley Rorke's Drift, and a combination that would be right up there for a top 10 placing this weekend.
Absolutely. Their dressage is getting better and better every round. They did a 41.6 in Rio. They are coming back to Badminton. Their show jumping record is one of the best in terms of consecutive show jumping clears. I think they're up. Are they 4-4, Nicole? I think they are in the last 12 months. Very strong show jumpers. Very strong across the country. They picked up time penalties at Rio, but then we saw them push the button again at Belton, went inside the time.
And this horse only 11 this
exciting.
year,
It's
so
exciting,
he
Nicole.
will have come on for Rio, and Jonty will have very, very high hopes. Arters, he's known at home, definitely one to keep an eye on in the dressage on Friday afternoon.
Oh,
And
from Irish hopes to
German hopes, and your hopes, Dermot, must be said, because I think
Yeah.
you're this lady's #1 fan. Ingrid Klimke and Horseware Hale Bob, they were members of the German team who won a silver medal last year in Rio. They've been second here before. They are hot favourites to take the title in 2017, to keep that Mitsubishi Motors Badminton Horse Trials trophy in Germany.
in Germany, Nicole. We've seen Michael Young. We know all about Sam. We know how many records he set. Michael is full of confidence. He's just one Rolex on Fisher Rocana. But this horse here, Horseware Halebob, he is the in-form horse. He had a 36 in his last outing at Sopho. Then he had that was a 2-star. He also had he's had 230s wins at Cruyff.
And it's important to note that an international dressage mark of 30 is incredible.
Yeah.
The record here at Badminton is 30.8 Darien Powers, made back in 2000. And this is a horse that could certainly be well up there come Friday afternoon. And Ingrid will relish the pressure cooker.
I expect him to lead, Nicole, and I expect him to win.
Well, you heard it here first at Byrne. He has laid down his plans for the weekend, Ingrid Klimke to take the win.
No.
But we see now Gubby Leach for Great Britain with Xavier. Gubby, who completed at Burley last year on this horse, had just the 20 penalties. Such an unfortunate 20 penalties it was as well across the country. He'll be looking to put that behind him. Had a really awful fall back in 2015, had to have some time on the sidelines, so it's great to see him back at the very highest level.
They had their PB at Burley last year, 46.4. We didn't expect them to go that low. They went in there, delivered a magnificent test. If they can go back to that tomorrow, they'll be setting themselves up on a brilliant platform. 46.4 is the only indicator we've got at 4-star level for Xavier. Still just 12, only the one 4-star. First time now at Badminton. Let's see if he can repeat the trick.
Well, this next horse will certainly know where he is. It is Beanie Sturgis bringing forward her great campaigner, 17 years of age now, Lebowski. And he is not to be shied away from across the country, because he is an animal.
Absolutely, one of the fastest horses in the field as well, Nicole. Doesn't pick up time penalties. He was clear inside the time at Blenheim 2015. He was clear inside the time at Badminton last year. A clear inside the time, guys. It was a 52.8. We've talked about it all the way along. But if you can finish on it, and Beanie and Lebowski finished on it last year, they finished 11th. 52.8, but didn't add to it. That's a Saturday. That's a horse for Saturday. That's a horse to really watch across the country. To just check those. It'll give you a very good indication of the time, depending on where Lebowski goes out.
I'm just looking there, Dan, because the ground jury looked to be discussing something. We haven't heard that Beanie was sent to the holding box, but as far as we're aware, she has been accepted. We'll certainly tell you if anything changes and that we become aware of anything else. But now to come forward, we have just 5 combinations left to present in this first horse inspection, and it is a young man from Ireland who has been making waves across the pond, because Cathal Daniels is certainly the future of Irish eventing. He brings forward the pint sides that Riochan Rua. This mare just stands at 15-1 on her tippy toes. I don't think she realises quite how enormous these fences are, because she eats it up, and he is such a good rider across the country.
Yeah, very exciting rider for Ireland. Cathal Daniels works very hard. Delighted to see him here on Riochan Rua. She's only been to one 4-star before, and neither of them have actually been to Badminton, so it is going to be a step up for the pair of them. But they jumped clear at Pole, picked up very few time penalties, just 3.2 and a 53.9 dressage. That's their only 4-star indicator that we have to go by, but certainly from an experience point of view and from a pressure point of view and from a Friday afternoon dressage point of view, that guy has gone in there at the lower levels, and Championships for Ireland has a stack full of medals. He'll be well able to deal with the pressure. He'll be well able to deal with the pressure.
And it's worth noting as well, they are the youngest combination in the field. Rioch and Ruhr just 10 years of age, and Cahill 20 years of age. So now coming forward, his countryman Kieran Glynn for Ireland, with November Knight making his badminton debut. They were top 25 at Po in the 4-star last year at their debut at that level.
Is he wearing a dicky bow?
He is wearing a dicky bow.
Oh my God, Leonard.
I think he's made an effort.
He sure has made an effort.
He's after that prize because there's prizes for those best dressed.
He is definitely after that prize. Kieran Glynn from Colossery Lodge in Ireland. He had a long wait on the wait list to see if he would get in. He got in November.
By the skin of his teeth.
Just about, yeah. He only got in late last week, but he's in. He has been to 4-star before. He's been to Po, and we talked to him straight after that, Nicole. We interviewed him after the Po round. 53.3, but a clear jumping round. Picked up some time penalties and won down. November Night is... she's still only 11. She's exciting. More to come. He'll be hoping that more to come comes this weekend.
Well, an exciting contingent here for Ireland, but also for France, as this young lady comes forward. It is Caroline Chatelet with Cadessia, and this another combination that have completed at Po, have ridden on Nations Cup teams for France, but this combination coming forward in their first badminton. So another combination stepping up, and what an afternoon it would be. Friday afternoon dressage in the main arena. We've mentioned the atmosphere, how things build, and no doubt she will be relishing the challenge ahead of her.
Yes, only 2 4-stars, both at Po 2015 and 2016, 53 and 54. So it won't be easy for them in there on Friday afternoon. Sometimes, Nicole, do you reckon, though, that you know, if you've got loads of good horses and the judges get used to pressing the 7s and the 8s, they might rub off on you?
Australia first.
If you're in there with them, you know, and you've got a horse that's doing, you know, averaging in the 50s, do you think maybe, like,
I wouldn't like to comment.
Oh, I think that would, yes. Okay, great.
No, I wouldn't like to comment.
Nicole, is this nearly the end? We've 2 to go.
We have 2 to go, and they are 2 really, really big names, because now coming forward inside the world's top 10, it is last year's Burghley winner for Australia, Christopher Burton, with his sole ride. He originally had 2 horses entered, just comes forward with Graf Liberty. And this is a horse that has some very strong form at 4-star level, particularly in the first phase, Dunn.
Yeah, 36.4 at Le Moulin is Graf Liberty's best result at 4-star level. They have finished on a 40... Actually, they finished on 36.4 in 2015, Graf Liberty. The big thing that you have to remember with Chris is speed cross country. They won't be adding time penalties. They're unlikely to add jumping penalties. They have a very clean jumping record, although Graf Liberty is probably one of the slower of all of his. Even though we know Chris is a master at getting them all inside the time, he's going to have to be careful to keep the show jumps up. He had 3 down at Blenheim. He had 1 down at Belton already in 2017. He can't afford any slip-ups on the final day here.
Well, the last combination to present is a horse coming forward in his 4-star debut, but certainly not a debut for Tim Price. He's a 4-star winner back at Le Moulin a couple of years ago for New Zealand, and he brings forward Xavier Fair. And this is a horse who Tim thinks a huge amount of. He went out to Rolex last weekend, and he comes here with some strong hopes for a young horse, but one I think he will be looking to produce for the future, as opposed to expecting a massive result right here, right now.
Yeah, still a young horse, produced in Ireland by Elizabeth Power. We are all, I mean, what can we say? Tim has, he's hugely experienced. This is actually his 21st 4-star run for Tim. Yes, Xavier Fair has run before at the level. It was a 48 dressage. He's never been to Badminton before, but all of us have our fingers crossed for Tim Price to turn around his 2016 form.
for the
Well, that
Mitsubishi Cup.
Is that?
Is that all of the horses coming forward? All 83 combinations have presented to our ground jury here at the Mitsubishi Motors Badminton Horse Trials. All of them have been presented. We had 2 sent to the whole box, but both passed on re-inspection. And the scene is set for what is sure to be top-class competition. Make sure you keep up to date all of the live stream, Badminton Radio. Go on to Badminton's website and catch up with all of the latest news. But we'll be back with you tomorrow morning. The dressage gets underway. Don't miss any of the action. 9 o'clock, the first horse in the arena. We hope you've enjoyed this first horse inspection. We've got a hell of a lot more to bring you over the next few days.
Paul Tapner, we hope to present those awards tonight. Well done, Danielle Dunn winning the Lady